All right, what's good, YouTube? We are back again for another trade recap. And today, as you can see by the emojis, you will know what type of day it was today. So I'm going to delete these, but it's a little foreshadowing of what to expect. So trading the model today after getting a small win yesterday, we pull up our confirmations here. We are looking for bearish price action based off of the confirmation. So we had a bearish 6 to 10 a.m. candle. So my bias is bearish. Now, it's important to note I did have, before the 4-hour candle closed from 6 to 10, a bullish bias looking to basically sweep these two highs, as we have seen price kind of rallying pretty aggressively over the past several days since our big Thursday drop off. It just seemed inevitable that we would hit these points soon. But again, sticking to the model, sticking to rules, as always, we are supposed to be focused on shorts in this environment. So all confirmations again put up here. 6 a.m. candle bearish. We were breaking under Asia once again after we had slightly pushed above it prior to this 10 a.m. open. So again, a rejection of Asia to the upside, closing back within the range. VWAP. Where's my VWAP? What happened to my VWAP? What? Okay. Well, let me fix this. And we should be good. Okay, so VWAP as well to the upside, meaning that we have that acting as a form of resistance here. So all confirmations for sells here. Last thing we're really missing is simply for price to push upwards, close back below 10 a.m. and then we are shorting. Now, I also saw this target here, which were these lows that were formed around that pre-New York window at 7 a.m. So I was pretty confident that if we got our entry, we would at least get to this point, which would create a 1R situation, which again, we could ultimately close it and secure another 1R like we did yesterday. Or just at least see how price reacts once we're there, and then maybe get to Asia low down here, which would have been a 2-to-1 trade. That was liquidity that we saw remain intact the whole time during London and pre-New York. So that was definitely liquidity that was on the table for me. And again, 2-to-1 plus is really what I try to bag every time we take a trade. But again, even if we had these targets at 1-to-1, cool. And so, yeah, let's see. We get price popping up right here. And the very next candle, we start to cross back below around here. And that's where we looked good. Honestly, like seeing this candle printing, I was like, okay, we're in business. We're looking pretty solid. Yo, my dog is tripping back there. Hold on. Here, come say hi to YouTube. All right, guys. So we were interrupted by these young savages here. Right here. Look, right here.
Look.
Yeah. Say hey, YouTube.
Hey, YouTube. Hey, YouTube.
I'm teaching them how to blow accounts, guys. All right, let's go. All right, let's get back to it. So again, at this point on the live session today, I was like, oh, we're in business. We're looking good. Price is like gonna close this 1-minute candle super solid, and then right away candle kind of comes back up into entry, starts going into drawdown, and then we just get completely wiped. So at this point we got 1L in there, and at this point I was kind of like, man, similar to yesterday where we started getting that smaller time frame shift of structure, failing to make new lows, making new highs. I was a little bit skeptical about jumping in again if we did get confirmations crossing back below. I usually drop my risk by half if I'm going to take a second position. That's just something I personally do based off my own stats, where I've just seen if I'm gonna trade a really good setup. I'm usually gonna get it first time around. And if I don't, then usually the second, trade is not really that great either. So we see price start to cross here, and I'm already looking to position myself for a second opportunity. The stops would be covering this high. And again, same target, same idea, really. We're just getting a second grab at it potentially here. And price basically sits around. Once we got this candle, again, I was like, okay, it looks like we might be in business. And then boom, we just got like a massive candle the other way. So pretty crappy day, not gonna lie. But like what I tell people in the live sessions, at the end of the day, if you manage your downside, meaning, your worst day is like, let's say 2 losses like this at minus 1.5 R, cutting my second position in half, I can easily recover this bad day with one good 2-to-1 trade. So that's really important for understanding your stats, risk to reward ratios, win rate, all that. But that was it. From there, I am going to be looking to incorporate ways to potentially not break the rules of the strategy necessarily, but if I can see that we clearly are not going to kind of see the model work out, how we can still find a trade that makes sense to basically catch the move that I can see happening afterwards, which was getting up into these high points. So that was really my idea since last night. I was like, man, we came up, pretty close into these highs, finishing up Asia and early London. I'm like, at some point, we're going to probably just end up running these highs. So ultimately, if we would have had a bullish 6 a.m. candle, then we would have had all the confirmations line up for buys. I would have had a clear objective in mind up here, and everything would have flowed a lot smoother. So ultimately, once we took these L's on the session, I usually do not look for a third position. We had some of the students that didn't take both of the trades. They actually only took like the second one, and only had one loss at that point. So they ended up going for buys here, where basically the idea is we have a clear objective. We saw that 10 a.m. open was clearly not looking bearish. We were also shifting structure above this high, staying above Asia. So there was just a lot of bullish signatures at this point. And I've always taught models aside from Liberty X, which is what I've been showing you guys on all these recaps, where we just simply look at the Asian range for breakouts and fakeouts. And so we would be seeing price basically breaking out of Asia to potentially go take these targets. I know some people in the community, they waited for a retest here of Asia high, and were able to basically look to target these highs here for about almost a 3-hour trade. And that obviously ends up working out if we end up seeing how everything plays out. Very clean as we take both of those highs. So all in all, these are ways that potentially I will look to kind of, see how I can turn a day where the model is clearly not going to print correctly in our direction to still find a trade after we get those confirmations that things aren't going to work out, to take advantage of something for the day. So we'll see how I can incorporate that over time. In the grand scheme of things, really just looking back at even like 1 minute structure, we had this low here. Price ends up forming these highs above this high, and so coming down to here, we can see that we made a lower high, but ultimately respecting this low. And so when we get those shifts of structure back above Asia and everything, it just makes sense that price overall was continuing the overall bullish order flow that we were in. So yeah, at the end of the day, when you have a model and you have rules, you obviously want to stick to them. In the long run, with backtesting this, it does really well, but we are going to have losing days, break-even days, and then obviously we will have our good days. But if I can find ways to take a L, let price develop a little further, and see that we do have confirmations for the opposite direction, we can find ways to stack a different type of trade in there. We can really start to stack up some serious profit, a lot more on a weekly basis. So again, more on that in the future. But as you saw with the emojis earlier, today was a dog S blank 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 T day. All right, so I'll see you guys Friday. Thursday, tomorrow is Thanksgiving, so we'll not be trading for obvious reasons. And yeah, so appreciate y'all. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Check out all the links for the Thanksgiving promos for Alpha Futures. We got some Black Friday promos across the board for a lot of different prop firms right now. If you guys want to get some capital in. And yeah, stay tuned so you can blow some accounts with me. Let's get it.